Evening, folks. Melvin here. As many of you probably have guessed, I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. The way the show mixes intricate storylines, thrilling battles, and boobies fits right into the old Melvin wheelhouse, right next to Canadian cheese models and Overwatch fanfiction. With the penultimate season quickly arriving and only 13 episodes left, I found myself consumed with thinking about what's gonna happen. Sure, there will be the 3Ds, dragons, death, and doinking, but no one knows exactly how this high fantasy fest is really gonna end. Probably not even George, are you ever gonna even finish these books, R. Martin. So tonight we're gonna try something a little different. Here are the top 10 ways I think Game of Thrones should end. Throughout Game of Thrones, we've been warned that winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
But who says winter has to be a bad thing? I've always found it to be a time to kick back on a bearskin rug next to a fire, sipping on hot cocoa while being attended to by a plethora of lusty women. In Game of Thrones, though, winter is a bad thing, signaling the arrival of the White Walkers, the ice zombies known for raising the dead, slaying wildlings, and trampling everyone's favorite one-worded friend Groot. Hodor. But what if we've been getting it all wrong? We're led to believe that the White Walkers are the bad guys, but maybe they're just a bunch of misunderstood ice zombies who want someone to love them, and maybe hang out in the brothel south of the wall. Because seriously, those wildling brothels? So much hair. Plus, when you think about it, the White Walkers are the best team in Game of Thrones. Their leaders are the only ones who don't want to either or kill each other, and their army is better coordinated than a high school marching band that I definitely was never in. I thought I had that destroyed. I predicted by the end of Game of Thrones, the White Walkers make it south of the Wall, hacking and slashing any morally impure denizens, i.e. everyone, eventually making their way to Dorne, where they decide to hang out on a beach and raise the undead exotic body of Dornish women to serve them Mai Tais. If one thing's clear so far in Game of Thrones, it's that Cersei's been through some shit. Maybe it was a secret relationship with her twin brother, or witnessing her douchebag son turn into a human eggplant, or being walked naked down a street as a horde of serfs threw tomatoes at her face, or maybe that time she blew up the Sept of Baelor leading to her last son's suicide, but she's now certifiably insane and has fewer reasons to live than Frosty the Snowman in July. Seeing as the show has to end and Game of Thrones has a knack for killing off any and all characters, I've got a feeling that Cersei is cursed. Okay, that was bad. But yeah, she's gonna die, 100%. My prediction is that Jamie Lannister returns to King's Landing from Riverdale. Get out of here, sexy Archie. Quit being so good at everything. And when he gets home, he sees King's Landing messed up worse than after a Dothraki bachelor party. Now, when Cersei sees Daenerys knocking on the door of the city with 3 armies, she decides to finish what she started and burn the whole bitch down. So we cut to a final showdown between Cersei and Jamie high up in the Red Keep. He tries to talk some sense into her, but she's on some very strong drugs and insisting on watching the world burn. So in an act of desperation, he thrusts his sword deep into her one last time, by which I mean he kills her and has sex with her one last time. In what order? Stay tuned to find out. Oh, and as this happens, Brandon's doughy legs are led up to the tower and sees him f***ing again, and is promptly pushed out of the tower for old time's sake. Now to give this a happy ending, I predict that Jamie finally cuts through the sexual tension red tape with Brienne of Tarth, and they finally make love. Podrick watches, and afterwards, she holds him like a baby in her big arms. Next up, we've got Arya. Fresh off killing the waif in Walder Frey, Arya's a new girl. She's got a whole bag of faces up her sleeve and a whole list of people to kill. My prediction is that while going down her list and taking out the likes of Melisandre, Arya stumbles across Hound 2.0 and is all, hey, didn't I leave you and your broke-ass body to die on a hill? And after catching up over coffee, they decide to put their differences behind them and team up for the battle we've been promised for years, Clegane Bowl. Seeing as things have changed in the recent years, with the mountain turning into a horrifying zombie beast, the Hound and Arya team up a la Master Blaster and Thunderdome to take him down. In a fight as epic as the one with the Viper, which is responsible for giving me no less than 12 night terrors, by the way, Arya and the Hound duke it out, eventually getting the best of Zombie Mountain, but not before he leg sweeps the Hound and smashes his face in like a human gusher. Ugh. Arya cries, but having officially crossed out 2 people off her list is pretty pleased. She then takes the Zombie Mountain's face off and wins every Halloween costume contest for the rest of her days in Westeros. Over the past few seasons, Sansa's been through the ringer. There's the whole dad getting his head cut off thing, mom being gutted at the Red Wedding, and then there's the being married off to Joffrey and Ramsay Bolton thing, which wasn't exactly a picnic. By now, she's hardened by the world, refusing to take shit from the Westeros patriarchy and ready to bust some ass. My prediction is that by the end, with Westeros in turmoil, Sansa turns to the one person that actually treated her like a human being in her darkest hour, Tyrion Lannister. She looks past Tyrion's shortcomings, both figurative and literal, and form a Game of Thrones power couple like Beyonce and Jay-Z. Only shorter. And, well, whiter. Using Tyrion's political prowess, he strikes a truce leaving the south to Daenerys and the north to the Starks, with Sansa as the Queen of the North. Sansa and Tyrion have a closed wedding to renew their vows, which is officiated by the newly appointed Maester Sam and attended by Arya, Bran, and Jon. Sansa also invites Littlefinger, who she then kills for using her like a Jim Henson puppet because, really, what would a Stark wedding be without at least one murder? That is, of course, assuming that Littlefinger doesn't win the whole thing, which is a possibility because he's so damn charming. I see a lot of myself in him. As Sansa and Tyrion grow old and wise, they rule the North and go on to have a bunch of kids who spend their days going on direwolf rides around the forests of Winterfell, with Tyrion leading the pack. The end. By the end of Season 6, Bran finally started to go through the transformation into a badass paraplegic, rivaling the likes of Professor Xavier and Stephen Hawking. But our questions still remain. Will he learn how to control his warg abilities? Can he actually time travel? Will he avenge Hodor? Will he snitch on Jamie and Cersei for bumping uglies and then bumping him out of a tower? We shall see. My prediction is that Bran's going to play a large role in the final seasons. In the upcoming showdown between Daenerys and literally everyone else, you can expect her to bust out her trusty fire-breathing dragons with their steady diet of goats and small children. At this point, we're gonna see Bran upgrade from warging into ravens and fat guys who hold doors to warging into a f***ing dragon. Once he takes control of a dragon, all bets are off. Personally, I would take a dragon on an epic joyride. I'd burn up some ships, eat a few White Walkers, or maybe just fly off into a sunset. But Bran, I imagine, will have different priorities. My prediction is that in the ultimate showdown between the North and South, Bran will warg into Khaleesi's flying demons and crash their bodies into the wall, crushing them like Bran's candy cane legs after falling out of the tower. Of course, I also have my fingers crossed that he gets into time travel, goes into the future where they have power-lacing Nikes and hoverboards, and he buys a sports almanac to bring back to Westeros to gamble on the Mountain vs. Viper fight. Wait, that's basically just the plot from Back to the Future 2. Oh well, next one. Now, my next prediction may come off as a bit of a surprise, but follow me here. What if this was all a dream? Yes, the scene, Winterfell. The year, a long time ago. Anyway, little Bran with legs made of sturdy satay sticks climbs up the tower to see two incestual lovebirds making sweet whoopee in the heat of day. Jamie walks over, and right when you think Bran's gonna get the birds and the bees talk, he gets pushed out of a 3-story guard tower. Now, as Bran is laying on his back, pudding legs and all, he enters a concussion-induced dream sequence, which we see unfold before our very eyes as the television show Game of Thrones. It was all a dream. Okay, I raise you another theory. Daenerys rolls through Westeros, kills the White Walkers, and sits atop the Iron Throne. All of a sudden, Anthony Hopkins walks out and says, "Freeze!" Everyone stops. He then introduces the executives of Westworld to his latest and greatest narrative, Game of Thrones. Turns out all this time, it's been an elaborate tie into Westworld. Mind blown. This one's pretty unlikely, but I wouldn't put anything past those sly bastards at HBO. The most popular prediction for the end of Game of Thrones is that Daenerys, Stormborn of the House Targaryen, Khaleesi of the Great Grass, Mother of Dragons, Breaker of Chains, owner of long-ass names, will sit atop the Iron Throne. She's got an army of Unsullied, Dothrakis, and now the Greyjoys, even though Theon's missing a peon. Okay, that one was bad too. Yeah. All I'm saying is she can't not win, right? Well, maybe. But I have some predictions that go beyond the Iron Throne. After a victorious effort driving the White Walkers beyond the wall, her dragons escape into the winter sky. Oh no! What could this possibly mean? Game of Thrones tie into Skyrim. The dragons learn how to speak English, develop their own backstory, sit atop mountains and wait to duke it out with the Dovahkiin, and they act like a special edition re-release of Skyrim isn't total bullshit and we're spending another $60 on. You're fooling no one, dragons. Also, one day while sitting in the throne room thinking about her dragons, Khaleesi gets a visit from a mysterious stranger draped in a cloak. He reveals himself. It's none other than Jorah Mormont, her trusty advisor, whose grayscale has made him fully morph into the Thing from Fantastic Four. And for some reason he has a Brooklyn accent and is really into clobbering time. She then takes her fire immunity to the next level and becomes the Human Torch. What a team! Another very likely possibility that Game of Thrones has been leading towards all this time is Jon Snow sitting atop the Iron Throne. Everyone loves him, except the Nice Watch, but he gets the last laugh. You can't kill him. The prophecy still checks out. He's got the Targaryen blood, R plus L equals J, right? Cool. But how does this happen, you ask? Oh, I don't know. Only thought about it a little bit, but maybe Jon Snow finds the Horn of f***ing Winter? Oh yeah! He now commands the army of White Walkers. He wakes the fabled Ice Dragon. That's right, he's got a f***ing Ice Dragon. He rides said Ice Dragon in an assault against Khaleesi and her 3 dragons in an epic final battle. Oh, there's skeletons fighting the Unsullied, there's White Walkers fighting Dothrakis, and it all leads up to a final showdown at the Wall. Daenerys' dragons shoot fiery burning death right at the wall, making it melt. Jon jumps off the ice dragon, sending it crashing into her dragons, taking them out. And then, Jon pulls out a surfboard and shreds the gnarliest wave the Seven Kingdoms have ever seen. A 500-foot wall of water washes away all of his enemies as Jon carves a wave all the way to the Iron Throne, where he posts up wearing board shorts and Oakleys, and then he sparks up a giant fatty. Now, another distinct possibility has our two heroes, Jon and Daenerys, teaming up for the sickest tag team duo since the WWE's Legion of Doom. Realizing that winter is upon them and not having the option to simply retire in Florida, Jon and Daenerys combine their armies to crush the living and the dead. Their combined forces are no match for anyone. Cersei tries to stick the zombie mountain on him. Oh wait, we got dragons for that. The Night King tries to kill Jon. Oh wait, say hello to his Valyrian steel. They drive the army of the undead back beyond the wall and replace the Night's Watch with the Unsullied. Which they're totally cool with because they don't have dicks, so they're down with the whole celibacy for everything. Afterwards, Daenerys and Jon retire to King's Landing, where they make sweet, sweet Targaryen love. They soon find out that Daenerys is actually Jon's aunt, and it's awkward for a second, but then they relax and go along with it because, hey, this is Game of Thrones. My final prediction is one that, honestly, I can't see not happening. Seeing as tragedy is a natural aphrodisiac, with the end of the world looming over Westeros, I predict that we will see the biggest orgy in Game of Thrones history. What you are about to hear is the exact way Game of Thrones is going to end. It starts off in King's Landing. Cersei's gone full bonkers. She's rigged the entire city to blow. Jaime comes home and says that Cersei's been naughty and needs to be taught a lesson. They start going at it. Knock knock. Who's there but Daenerys Stormborn and Jon Snow? They see Cersei and Jaime doing it and figure they might as well join in too. Pretty soon, shit's going wild. Sansa shows up with Tyrion and Littlefinger, and they start a threesome. Bran uses his magical powers to grow Theon's dick back, and he joins in. Brienne's there and decides to use this opportunity to teach Podrick how to bone. Melisandre's there too, but loses her amulet in the action and turns into an old hag. Nobody wants any until the Hound taps her on the shoulder, and they have the grossest sex scene in Game of Thrones history. In the classic sense, it's a fest. And then, in the closing moments of the show, the wildfire lights up King's Landing like it's whatever the 4th of July equivalent would be in Westeros. Everyone dies, but it's not sad, it's awesome. I have had sex. A lot. So I know, firsthand, that this is how it's gonna happen. The end. Well, there you have it, folks. The top 10 ways Game of Thrones should end. I would be absolutely shocked if it turns out none of my predictions are correct. But then again, Adam always trying way too hard Levine was 2013 Sexiest Man Alive, so who even knows anymore? Well, that's all the time we have for you this season. Thanks for watching, folks. I'm Melvin, and... Oh, you hear that? You know what that means? Someone's going to f***ing space! Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you want to see a playlist of my other top 10s, click the box on the left. Or if you want to see another dope video, click the box on the right. And be sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date on all the latest Warp Zone content. Anywho, that's it for me. Melvin out.